Hello and welcome back. I'm Claire, this is Purple Poppy. It feels like forever since I've been here with you, what with the Easter holidays and everything else going on. So today I have for you two journal flip throughs. This is the spill out journal that I recently created, mostly on video. And this is the chunky Grungy Lapbook, again mostly created on video with you. Now this book is huge and it needs a lot of space, so I want to make sure that you can see it all. So I'm just moving it around a little bit. There we go. Try and keep it there. So being a lap book, it's been made from two hardback book covers. And then those two book covers have been joined with a new third spine. As you can see, I've done it in the Midori style with the elastics, meaning that you can keep the cover and replace all the papers at any time to suit yourselves. So we start at the front, and I've got this broken pencil as a closure. I just thought it was different, it was novel, and it just slides there and it keeps this piece closed. But you can pull this little tab up and then you have got the loop that goes through. You can flip this open and you've just got some very interesting area that you can put some notes and things on. This is vintage, this is vintage, this is vintage, this is fabric, this is a printout, okay? And then obviously that's corrugated card, printout, original, vintage, and that's actually an envelope. And then that just pokes through there, and obviously it's going to look difficult on camera, but it really isn't. There you go, it just pokes through there like that, press it down, pencil goes in, and that is sealed and not going anywhere. So then if I slide it all the way over here and we open this first one, first thing you see is the central signature. Now there's a lot of pages in here. This cover here is the one that we did a video on, creating your own digitals, where we took photos and we printed them out. It's only paper. And then we've got various different papers through here, mainly plain, that you can add your things to. This is a vintage bank one. This is like multicoloured. It was quite weak to get the texture, so I've actually glued it to some baking paper. Here you've just got a decorative piece. I've sewn various things to the top of this envelope. You've got lined paper, you've got book page, you've got more baking paper, a pretty picture from a book. This is an old book page, shorthand, another old book page. This is a My Porch Prints digital page. And then on there you've got a pocket that's been decorated up with music paper and vintage paper. Here you've got a little tuck spot, and there's a tag that I've made there with die cut vintage. This is a Tim Holtz die cut, and there's a couple of brads there holding that on. Just interesting. So kingfisher there. That's the other side of that, because we're going back over now. So all of these book pages, not much happening in this centre signature. It's just interesting papers. There's an envelope from an old book page, and on this side I've made another scrappy tuck spot, and there's an interesting journaling card in there. You've got baking paper, you've got that lovely paper that I made, and again I've strengthened it by putting a pocket on it. You can see it's weak in some areas where it was screwed up, and there's a interesting guest check in there. That's that bank paper, more papers. And this one I've just done a fold, and I've done an interesting journal card there with an old book image and some embossed card. And then again, just the plain papers. So that's your central one. And then this one we did together. This was the envelope that opens up. It's got true vintage book page in there. It's got coloured cheesecloth. And then on the front we did this handmade paper for this false stucco look with the string. And there's a mushroom on there. The one on this side is the same, only in the blue tone. This one doesn't lift up with the bird. And then as we go into this, see again, we need, oh no we don't, you just fit. On this first inside cover, you've got a flap up envelope, and that has got some paper dolls in there, not Tim Holtz, cut from a book. It's got a print of a, what am I calling that? A print of a postcard. You've got a street label there that's upside down deliberately. It's not a mistake, because this writing's upside down, this writing goes that way, that writing goes that way. It's all higgledy-piggledy deliberately for you. And then if we come back up, you've got all this decorated page here. You've then got the stenciled paper on that spine, and then that is all stamped and eco printed, and you've just got an interesting journaling card in there. And then here we have got a flip up and a flip down. They're just interestingly decorated with stenciling and ink dyeing and splatters. Here you've got some more stamping and stenciling, and they just flip up and down. Go that way, this one won't open, it's entirely up to you, and you could put some private stuff in there. So that's that one. And then in this signature you've got the envelope from the old book page that we made on camera. That just sits there on its own. And then you come to the signature. There's more of this gesso and stamped paper at the back. You've got another interesting envelope here where I've decorated with some rough collage, old stamp and a bird, true vintage papers. And then on the back you've got again a messy collage, and it is an open envelope, and you can pull out this journal card that's in that hole at the top there, she says. And there you go. Never works on camera, does it? And then we got book page, we've got collage. This is actually an envelope torn. It's got some Tim Holtz paper there, it's got some dictionary page and a stamp, plain. You got your music paper, and you got all of these areas to write on. Vintage ledger. There's more of that lovely paper. It just feels almost like leather. Coffee dyed papers, old book page. You've got another one of these interesting tuck spots that's been put together as a rough collage and stitched, and a bird. And there you've got a tag there of various layers. Then we come across more coffee dyed, lined, more of that lovely paper, card. Got another interesting decoration on that page, more ledger paper, book page, line paper. And of course these are moving slightly because they're in elastics, they're not stitched. So really you didn't have to use this even as a junk journal. If you didn't want to, you could use it almost as a smash book and just pull pieces out and use them elsewhere. So it could even just be a supply folder that, you know, you're going to use. You've got another interesting collage there that's all been stitched. It's on an envelope again. There isn't anything in there, but you could easily put something in. There's another one of those pages because we're going to that middle one. So if I close up that one, close that over, move that, come this way, we can look at this one. So that's the blue front. And then on this inside cover, you've got another one of these lift up envelopes, decorated, and you have got a giant journal card in there. That's why you've got the thumb holes. And then it's decorated there as well. And then we've got the third signature. Hello, Boo Boo. This is all decorated on the front. It's a collage. And then here we've got a tuck spot with a first day stamp. Very relevant, having recently lost our Queen. That's the 25th anniversary of her coronation. And just an interesting little journal card there. We've got some dressmaking pattern paper there. And then again, another one of these interesting tuck spots. Some more collage. Love that image. And just some flip out papers. More ledger, more book page. Another one of these guest checks. That one is paper clipped on. You've got a tuck spot there. Another grungy collage page. That lovely paper. Music sheet. Page, there's your centre elastic. This is a little envelope made from book page. Music. You've got this one, you see, was very damaged, so I've actually glued it to this encyclopedia page, and you've got a true vintage advert from a magazine there. And then here we've got this giant clip-on card that's been, playing card that's been decorated, and it's got a little multi-tag there. Super giant paper clip. And then on this side you've got, oh no, that is the paper clip there. It's been decorated on that side, and you got this super giant tag on like canvas. It's all been colleged up. And that's true vintage, that's true vintage. And then this is paper dolls cut from a book again. Okay, and then we've got the decoration on the shorthand book. We've got ledger paper, printing, that's that multi coffee dyed paper again, book page. And then we've got a little decorated bit there. What are you doing, Boo Boo? Why are you under Mummy's table? Come on, out you come, please. And then she's going to knock everything over. And then we've got this decorated page here with a man on. And some ink and a bird. And then we've got coffee dyed paper, book page. And we come to the end there, and that you can see is dressmaking pattern again. And then here we've got a giant envelope. I'm just going to put you on pause a second. Right, that's Boo sorted out from under my desk. Oh dear, she is a funny character. Right, and then we've got this huge envelope. I did make this on film, I believe. It's a little bit like doctor's notes, and it's all collaged up with all sorts of vintage style pieces. This is from a vintage book, but most of these are just prints. And again on this side. Okay, and then in there I have placed the vintage document folder that I made in line with Roxy's weekly challenges, and this is full of real vintage ephemera. This one is a print. This is a double diary page that's real. This is a print. This is a print. This is real. This is a print. This is real. And this is real. Lots and lots of vintage pages there, all folded up in this file folder that's been tied with string, and I've put a little bit of glue under the bow so it doesn't come undone. But if you really wanted to take it apart, you could just snip it there and there and pull all of the pieces out. And then that just sits in that decorated envelope there. And then under there we've got another one of these flip flaps. Okay, so again it's the stenciling and stamping. You've got a collard piece there which you could write on because it's quite pale, and then this bottom one comes up and it's got a tag in, and the tag obviously stops that one from coming out until you really want it to. So there you go, it's a super chunky monkey. And whether you choose to want to use it as a journal, look at that, or whether you choose to pull all of those delightful papers out, do something else with them and use the frame to do something else, is obviously entirely up to you. But that's why those elastics are there, because you can pull all of those out. So there it is, that's the Grungy Lapbook. So I'm going to move that over there, you can just see it on the corner of the screen. And now we've got the spill out book. Now this is obviously a Pittmans shorthand book. It's vintage, it's very reminiscent of things we used to do. Hardly anybody does shorthand now, definitely not in a commercial environment. We don't even do typewriting in a commercial environment anymore. So that's why I've not decorated that. I've just put a little bit of lace over it. And you can see on the back where it's been in the sunlight, it's faded. And it's spill out because of all these pages being much bigger than the actual book. So if we open it up, you can see there's some ticking fabric holding the whole thing together, because I did cut the spine out because the spine was very narrow. And then you've got decorated, you know, cardstock from a book, and I've put lace on the top of that. And then these are all beautiful, beautiful papers. Little pocket here, a couple of Tim Holtz bits in it, and there's a tag in that one. And they just go in there. And then this comes over. You've got an old directory page from the legal, one of the legal books I've got. Then here we've just got a piece of Tim Holtz cardstock. There's a hole there, so you could easily put a little dangle on. And there's just a little tag of papers, really. And I've just poked that under there, so that just sits in there. Obviously the pages are all coffee dyed. You got vintage typing book page there. Here I made this slide over and tied it together a little bit like that document folder we just saw. So you've got an original piece there, you've got another one underneath, and you've got another one here that I've glued to coffee dyed paper. And then that's book page that's got ledger and a photo on it. Stitched it all together so that you can open it up and just tuck it over the page like that. Okay, coffee dyed. This is vintage diary, and here this is those hidden paper clips by Bohemian Crafting. I bought a set of those. This is an actual vintage letter. Sadly, there's no year on it, just January the 15th. But you can see, oh, there you go on the other side, 1932. And you've got some vintage stamps there as well. And there, because I tried to keep this all sort of correspondence in style. That's the other side of the paper clip. You've got the shorthand book page and another typewriting book page. This is the family book. Lovely old picture there. You've got decorated turnover there, and again I have just put an assortment of papers in here Some are vintage, some are handmade, but it all just makes this beautiful notebook, shall we say. Okay, so that goes in there, and then there's another vintage, coffee dyed twice. Mainly writing this journal. There's not a lot of decoration. You've got a little label there, and you've got a vintage fountain pen advert page and a little tiny bit of a page there to get it sewn in. We've got an envelope here that's not stuck, so you could use it as storage rather than an envelope, or obviously you could stick it together and use it as an envelope. Vintage page, and that's that beautiful mulberry paper. And then this was gifted to me, and I think it's absolutely beautiful, this card. And I put it onto a small piece of the Edith Holden flip. You got some Tim Holtz papers there and another one there, and that just tucks under there. And that's the family book again, another one of these labels. I believe these come from G.I. Kerr, I might be wrong, not G.I., G. Kerr. And then this is another family book page with a beautiful old picture on it. You've got more typewriting pages, another one of those paper clips, coffee dyed paper, and then there's another vintage letter, 1891. This is true ephemera, this is not printed. And there is the actual spine that was cut out of this book. Another vintage country diary herbal page, and I've joined that to that and made a little tuck spot from one of these specimen type photo frames. Okay, that's all stuck there. That's the end of that vintage page there. And I've just turned it over so it can be stitched in. Another legal page. This is a print of a vintage document, and another one of those labels. More of that typing book. This is where a child has scribbled on this book, not since I've had it, and I thought I'd leave it because it's part of its history. You've got a little pocket here, and in here you have got a little card that somebody's used to write on. It's embossed on the back there, from the Brow Hill House. I'm guessing that was some kind of hotel in Leek, July the 12th, 1922. So that's true vintage. And then I've just put one of these little die cuts. There's a Tim Holtz number and Tim Holtz tickets. And then there's some original vintage stamps from South Africa under there. That's that one. So there's another family book page. There's a writing page from Edith Holden. And then here you've got music page. This is a tuck spot, but it's also, right, let me find, right. So you've got tuck spot at the back, but it's also a bag. So you can actually, there you go. So you could put something inside the bag, and then you could put something else behind the tuck spot of the bag, yeah? So it's double pocket there. And that's on the index of a music book. And you've got another fountain pen there. You've got another one of these labels. Lots of paperclip labels so you can move stuff around. Here's another directory page. Decorated envelope. And it's been adhered with a page from a Sears book. Another one of these vintage diary entries. This is April 24th, 1909. Coffee dyed paper, another fountain pen. More vintage book page. Another one of those labels. Another typewriting book entry. And here I chose to leave this specimen open and position correctly a photograph, so you could leave it empty, or this is a mini one of those document folders I just showed you in the other one. This is original 1871, that piece is. This is original. This is February 1905. And then you've got a large coffee dyed paper in the back there. And you've got writing on the back there, all February 1905. So they're true vintage, and that's in another one of those little document folders. Can pin that there so you can see how that works. And then I've got the mulberry paper in the middle, which has made a pocket there for this interesting looking dog out of the family book. Not on Friday. I love that. Whenever I worked in the office, we always did less work on a Friday. Another paper clip, and this, you can see how fragile this is, but this again is original, and this is April the 7th, 1909. Very, very fragile. And there's also an index page from a vintage book there. That's the other one from that typing book. Coffee dyed paper, family book, coffee dyed paper, May 1909 diary entry. And then this one has got 1, 2 pockets there, nothing in it. And then you've got some Tim Holtz card on that little bit of legal directory page. You've got another little label there, and you've got another Sears fountain pen page there, and then you've got this large envelope. It's an old book page, some lace, and a flower sticker. There's another little Tim Holtz tuck spot there, music paper, the card, and that's where someone drew inside the original book, which I think is fabulous. And then there we go. So there's the 2 journals. I hope you've enjoyed nosing through them as I've showed you. Anybody that's interested will be able to find them in my Etsy shop. Stay safe. I'll see you very soon. Bye bye for now.